Hello, everyone. This is MMA Interesting Prospects podcast. Today, our guest is Johnny Smith, the undefeated welterweight who will be fighting on Peak Fighting 30. Hello, Johnny. How are you?
Good. What's up, man?
Johnny, you have a really, I think, tough test in front of you on the Peak Fighting 30. So please tell me, what do you think about this opponent, and how many weeks did you have to prepare for this?
I knew I was gonna fight about 8 weeks out, but I've known I'm fighting Armis for probably, I'd say, 5 weeks out from the fight. I found out I was fighting Armis. I went through a couple different opponents. It's obviously, if you look at my depth of record of who I fought, they're, not super great. But I mean, in the MMA game, when you're starting out, that's what you're supposed to do. I haven't taken a lot of damage. I wish I would have got a little more ring time, but Armis is like my first test, you could say, for sure. My first test. I fought a couple good guys at the pro. I mean, I had a good amateur record. My amateur record on Tabology isn't correct. I'm 5-2, not 3-1. I think Armis is good at a couple things. I don't think he's good at a few things that I'm really good at. I think I'm more well-rounded than him. I think I'll expose a couple holes in his game, and I think I'll find my way to a finish.
And what do you think would be next for you when after the fight against Gaiton?
So I'm on a 3-fight contract with Peak. The plan is to win this one at 170, drop down to 155 in November, fight at 155 in November, and then my third and final fight with Peak, hopefully fight for their lightweight title. That's the plan. That's what everything goes accordingly. 7-0 after that, and then we're in the UFC, Bellator, PFL, wherever where we end up.
And I also think that the whole card is great because we have Chris Verin fighting against Ivan Katz. We have Xavier Franklin. We have Colton Loud. So overall, the card is great. So there is also a chance for you to show in this kind of like environment.
Yeah, for sure. This is the most high profile card I've ever fought on. I mean, Peak's growing and growing and growing. I think that Peak is the new feeder to the UFC. I mean, Fury's been established. Fury's been here for a little bit. LFA's obviously been around for a while. You got CFFC. You got Cage Warriors. And now Peak is like in that realm with them. They have their own broadcast system. I mean, they don't even go through UFC Fight Pass. They're not going that route. So that's actually pretty cool. They're doing their own thing with the primetime videos. It's interesting. It's different. It's not just a regular feeder, but I mean, obviously that's what they're trying to do, feed guys into the UFC. So I think they're making a pretty interesting product.
And let's talk about your beginnings with this sport. Was it an MMA the first combat sport that you ever trained, or you started with some other thing, maybe wrestling, maybe boxing?
No, I mean, I was straight to MMA from I did jiu-jitsu when I was 20. That was when I started. I was 20 years old. I'm 29. I'm a little bit older. That's why I'm time sensitive. I need to win these next 3 and get on up there. But yeah, I was an athlete in high school, short college soccer career. And from there, I was like, I want to stay in shape. I want to do something. I didn't think I was going to be a fighter. I've actually quit fighting twice. And when I went pro, it just kind of took off from there, kept building, and it just got more serious after every fight. So, I'm from Mississippi. They just got wrestling. We're the number out of 50 states in America. We are number 50 to get it. So they just got wrestling. I mean, the high school here where I live just got wrestling. So wrestling wasn't a thing. Boxing is not big in Mississippi. Kickboxing, I mean, karate, all that type of stuff really isn't big here. It's starting to grow. Jiu-jitsu is getting big. I actually run my own jiu-jitsu promotion. I have a super fight show. I have my own MMA show. So we're trying to grow the sport more and more and more. But I mean, it's not like these other states. That's why you got to travel to train. I'll travel. I went over there to Texas for a week, trained with Will Campazano. It's a little different of a level of how serious everybody is out there. I mean, on every corner there's a jiu-jitsu gym. So I think Mississippi's behind on that. So yeah, I mean, you got a fresh crop of wrestlers just transitioning from wrestling into MMA. They're already ahead. So you got to close that gap however you can. So Yeah, I think I did start at a disadvantage, being that I didn't have a combatives background before I was 20 years old. But I think we're doing just fine.
And to be honest, I'm not sure if there is a fighter from Mississippi in the UFC because I'm not sure. I don't know if you know if you.
Brandon Davis was in the UFC. He just got cut. One of my training partners, Joshua Weems from Jackson, was in the UFC. He did one fight. He got one fight. They cut him. I don't understand why you give somebody one fight on a 4 days notice and then you cut him. That makes no sense. Chase Sherman just got cut from the UFC. I'm trying to think about anybody that's active from Mississippi, and I'm going to miss it. Alan Belcher is from Arkansas, but he's from Mississippi. Jason Knight, Jason Knight's just got on.
Yes, he's in the Ultimate Fighter right now.
Actually trained a little bit with Kurt Hollowball. Kurt Hollowball's an hour. I mean, he's Louisiana, but I mean, he's an hour outside of Mississippi. I mean, the other day, SD Dumas is from Florida. He's from Pensacola, so you can't. I mean, I sparred with him the other day. Who else? I don't think there's anybody actively in the UFC from. I'm probably missing somebody, but from Mississippi actively in the UFC, I don't think there's anybody right now. Nobody that claims Mississippi now.
So maybe in 1 or 2 years you will be like the main, maybe the only, but maybe the main guy from the Mississippi who will bring other fighters from the state.
Hopefully, but my boy Josh Wings will be back in there soon. I mean, he's right. He's just knocking back on the door. I mean, they're going to give him another chance any opportunity that he gets. So he'll be the next one back in there for sure. And we have a big heavyweight out of my gym, Jamal Tatum. I mean, he's 5-0. He's under 30 as a heavyweight. I mean, he hasn't even hit his prime as a heavyweight yet. So I think he'll make it. There's a lot of guys from Biloxi, Jackson area that are just right there knocking on the door. It's just what do you do when you get there?
And what is the main gym that you train in?
So I train out of 3 gyms right now, pretty much. So I do. I train out of Graham MMA under Eric Graham. That's in Petal, Mississippi. I travel weekly to Lacombe, Louisiana. I train with Chris Pham at Victory MMA. I'll do a little sparring on the coast at ATT D'Iberville, and I'll spar over at Port City and Mobile, Alabama. I make trips now to Dallas, Texas to train with Will Campazano, who was my coach when I was in Texas. But for a brief period, I was going up to Kansas City to train with Glory MMA and Fitness. I was up there. I spent a couple weeks up there, but everybody knows what happened with Krause and everything, so that kind of died down.
But I think that it's really cool that you are going to different places and taking like the pieces of knowledge, and I think that you will be better because of it.
Oh, absolutely. You got to train with different bodies. You need to get the experience of going into a gym, train with someone different. If you train with the same guys every day, they're going to pick up on your tendencies and what is your game? What do you do? So you can't actually inflict your game on them because, what am I? I'm not going to expose what I'm good at on this podcast. I don't know if he's going to see it or not, but what is my game? Am I a front headlock guy? Am I, a Kimura guy? Am I a leg lock guy? If my teammates know that, they stay away from it. But if I train with someone that doesn't know that, I can sharpen my skills, sharpen my weapons a little better if I'm going with someone that doesn't know my game.
And you mentioned that you want to be in the lightweight division fight after this fight. And do you plan to stay in lightweight for many years to come, or you prefer just to go maybe a little bit lightweight, a little bit welterweight?
I don't know. It depends. I tried to make lightweight when I was an amateur in 2017. It wasn't short notice, but it was a pretty short notice for the cut. Got really close. Only time I ever missed weight. So now for me to be an elite level MMA fighter, I need to fight at 155. I'm barely 5'10", which there are some 5'10" guys that do fight at welterweight. And I think a lot of these guys lose some of their cardio and their benefit when they cut 25 pounds in a week, which some guys do. 25 pounds in a week is absolutely insane. You hear the stories of guys cutting 40 pounds in a week, and that's false. It's fabrication. Like, no one's cutting 40 pounds in a week. That's never happened. It's nearly impossible. So a lot of people lie about what they cut from. So like you go to these guys and like I'm ready to see how tall my guy is. I mean, it says he's 6'1". I've had a bunch of people say they're 6'1" and they end up being 5'11", you know? Like I'm a true 5'10" guy. I'm not any shorter than that or any taller. So you never really know. It's always weird. Like I've stood next to some guys that are 6 foot in the UFC and they're no bigger than me. So it depends. It depends on how that cut to 155 makes me feel. If it just drains me, then I'm going back up to welterweight. There's no point in doing it. But we'll see how that first one feels.
And do you have an opponent in mind in either lightweight or welterweight division after this fight that you would like to face on the regional scene?
We'll see. It depends on who Pete got, you know. I'm not in a rush. Whoever, you know, my management, my coaches thinks the best option for me. You know, there's a pair of lightweights that are fighting right after me on the same card as me. What's the boy's name?
Nation Gibrick.
Nathan and Tristan Grimsley. Tristan actually fought a guy that I was supposed to fight whenever I was dropping. I was going to debut at lightweight last year in November. I tore my rotator cuff, had to pull out of the fight. And after I tore my rotator cuff, I did a lot of therapy. I ballooned up. I got up to like 205 pounds. So I'm walking at like 187 right now. So I got to lose 16 in a week to make 171. So we'll see. I mean, I can make 55. It's just my frame's a little weird. I really wish we had a 165 division, but that's never going to happen.
Yes, it would be cool, like the super lightweight or junior welterweight division, something between them.
Yeah, I think that I do believe that would make a little more sense. I mean, the guys that have to go from 205 to 185, like they're not big enough for 205, but they're too big to make 185. Why is there not a 195 division? That makes no sense. 20 pounds is ridiculous. So the 170 to 155 jump, that's a big jump. I think they should. I honestly think they should move it to a 170 and 175 and put a 165 in there, and then I just think that makes more sense. People will stop killing themselves so much to make weight.
And if you can pick any fighter in the world in a dream fight scenario, who do you like to fight against?
Just like anybody of all time.
Yes.
I had someone ask me that the other day, and I think like Tony Ferguson would have been a absolutely fun fight. Like a guy like Clay Guida, Tony Ferguson, Nate Diaz, someone that, you know, let's make it a bloodbath. If it's going to be a dream fight, you know, you want it to be a bloodbath. You want it to be fun. So someone like that in that realm, you know, I don't need to say Conor McGregor. I mean, that's not going to be actually a fun fight. I mean, I think someone like Tony or Nate or someone like Guida who just out the gate, it's a barn burner the whole time.
In lightweight division, you can pick many fighters because it is such an interesting division because there is, of course, Ferguson, Diaz, Guida, also Poirier, Gaethje. So you can pick anyone, to be honest, and it would be a probably great fight.
Michael Chandler. I mean, that would be insane. Yeah.
And do you have a fighter who is inspiration for you?
Poirier, Dustin Poirier for sure. I've always been attracted to like his story and everything. He had a documentary made like forever ago called Fightville, and I remember watching that when I was like 14 years old. And Dustin is from Lafayette, Louisiana, which is not far from where I'm from, you know. And he didn't have. I think he might have boxed a little bit growing up. I can't really remember the story on that, but I know he just kind of was a guy from, you know, the South that didn't have a wrestling background, didn't really train at a super big gym straight out the gate. He trained with Tim Crater at Gladiators, and then he went to ATT. And that's just kind of like the same path I'm going on, you know, trying to build up small from where I'm at. And then, like, if I do, you know, say I do make it to the UFC, I'm going to have to leave, like, for sure. Like, he splits time in Louisiana and American Top Team in Coconut Creek, Florida. You know, I would go. I don't really know where yet. Where I want to try out some new gyms. I want to go try out Killcliff. I really like Kansas City. My sister lives in Kansas City, so I really like going up there and training with Glory MMA and Fitness. But I still talk to some of those guys too. Some of them are up at Extreme Couture now. I'm just I'll start shopping for that when it gets necessary. You know.
Yes, and there are. Excuse me.
I said take a couple trips.
And in US, there are so many great gyms. Like you said, Killcliff is one of the really best, like top of the top. So I think that it would be a great choice to to do some of the training in one of these great gyms.
Yep, absolutely. I've always wanted to go out of the country too. One of the coaches that I'm good buddies with, he actually, he has his own promotion and we have our own promotion and we help each other out. Jimmy Mills over in Mobile, Alabama. He has a connection out in Amsterdam and Holland. And I'd love to go get some Dutch kickboxing in, try that out. There's so many opportunities. There's no reason to not cross train and not go learn as much as you possibly can. We have a black belt here that goes down to Brazil all the time. I'd love to go with him one day. Just experience it all. He'll go up to Canada. Doesn't matter.
Yes, in Canada there are also a lot of great gyms, including the main one, TriStar. So you can pick like any part of the world, and there will be something that you can learn or improve.
Mm.
And you said that you are a fan of Dustin Poirier. So do you think that he will beat Justin Gaethje for the BMF title?
Yeah, he beats Gaethje. He beats Gaethje. I think Dustin's boxing is too smooth. I think Justin can strike just as good, but I think he just has that little bit of a wild hair and loses a little bit of a composure. And that's when Dustin just kind of, Dustin can shine in some of the moments where people are losing it. They're just getting a little too into the fire. Like, Chandler, but Chandler does that with everybody. Dustin keeps the composure very well. Straight punches. He just he's a fighter's fighter, and he sticks to the game plan. I see him getting it done. I think one of them will finish each other. I just see Dustin finishing him.
Yes, it's a little bit like in the first fight. It was a fourth round stoppage, so it may end the same way.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's going to end the exact same way. I think it's going to be a repeat of that fight, for sure.
And you are almost 30, so let's say that you will end your career in let's say 10 years. So what do you want from the MMA career? Do you want to be to go to the UFC, Bellator, PFL, won a championship? What's the the main goal for you overall?
Truly, it doesn't matter to me. I want to make it to one of the big. I say the big three. You could say the big four: PFL, Bellator, ONE FC, and UFC. Whichever. I've had two, not offers, but I've had two chances to fight for PFL in the Challenger Series, but they were always 1 week's notice, and I was 20 to 25 pounds over. So, being my age, the way I see it running is I will probably drop down to lightweight and hopefully get a short notice call to fight at welterweight and take that, get my contract, win the next two, and just keep going from there. I am a little bit older, so my career window is a little bit shorter. I just want to take it as far as I can. I'm not going to say I'm going to be a world champion or something like that. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say, because a lot of people, it's cliche to sit here and say, I'm going to be the champion in my division. That's cliche as hell. I'll take it as far as I can and make as many connections as possible to set myself up for the future. I've already made so many connections through fighting. I have my own MMA promotion. I'm 29 years old, have my own MMA promotion, have my own jiu-jitsu promotion. I'll open a gym one day, no doubt. But I've already just, I'm going to make, this is all a business decision for me. I love the sport, but it's all a business decision. So who I fight, when I fight, how I fight, where I go, that's all a calculated decision. It's never just, I want to fight the best guy out there. I'll do that when it's time. I don't have to do that right now. Maybe after this one, I'm going to have to start fighting the best guys out there, but these are all business decisions. So.
And what is the for you? What is the best thing about being a MMA fighter?
It gives me discipline that I've never had. So to be a fighter, to be a good fighter, if you're not disciplined, you're gonna get your ass beat. Sorry for cousin. You're gonna get your ass beat. In soccer, if you weren't disciplined, what, they scored a goal. In football, I was a quarterback, what, you got sacked, like That's not the end of the world. I mean, getting knocked out in front of people is one of the worst things possible you can do. But it's not even just that. It's just like it's a compounding interest. Like, you know, whenever you're disciplined and you're in camp, your life's better. You know, relationships are better. Your friend, like, you're saving money. I save money in camp because I'm not eating bad food. I'm not going out and partying. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. You know, so just the compounding interest that I get on a better lifestyle from fighting, and just the friends I've made from it and the experiences I've got to do. You know, this last month has been, I've traveled all over. You know, I went to Milwaukee and watched Roy Jones Jr. fight Anthony Pettis. I'm wearing the hoodie from that event. You know, I got to work that event. And I met the guy that Dean Toole, I met him from fighting. And so it's just, you know, there's always something cool with this sport that you're going to get to do. And I just love it. I'm obsessed with it. And I tell everybody, if you're not obsessed with it and you're just doing it because you want to be a world champion and you think that's cool, you're in the wrong sport. You better just love it. And if you love it, you're going to be fine. You know, it's the guys that just, oh, I want to make money and I want to do this, I want to do that. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, you're not going to make it. You need to be physically obsessed with this.
And discipline is the tool that you can use in every part of your life, like building a business or like creating something. So this is like the main factor that you can use in every area of the life. So it's good that it's on the high level.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I can say that I wasn't the most disciplined in my life when I wasn't fighting. And when I am fighting, I'm the best version of myself. I've always said that. I've said that on multiple podcasts. I've said that on multiple videos. I've stated that every time I've done this. It's always made me the best version of myself. And my business is better, relationships with friends, family, you know, everything's better when you're fighting. My mother hates it. My mother wishes I'll quit, but she knows that I'm the best version of myself when I'm fighting.
And how do you deal with this stress before your fights?
I mean, I don't really I get anxious and I get nervous, but I really enjoy it. Like, I love being in there. And you can tell that when I fight usually. I'm just happy to be there. I'm happy to be, I'm anxious, but once I get in the cage, it's like, okay, now we're here. You know, the door's locked. We're gonna fight either way. That's why I don't like when I go to a weigh-in and some guys like getting all pumped up or he's talking shit or something. Like, dude, we're gonna fight anyway. Like, we don't have to do all that dumb shit. So I don't really have a problem dealing with that anxiety and that pressure. I did work with a mental performance coach for a little bit. I'm going to get back with him. It's just, I've been busy, man. I've been busy. I got a lot of jobs. I do a lot of different things. I'm not just a fighter. Um, you know, I do a little box breathing, a little meditation, some stuff like that. I take a couple different supplements to, you know, keep my cortisol levels down, but I don't have a problem dealing with that anxiety. And I think that's one thing that is different about, I've talked to my coach about this multiple times. There's a lot of really good athletes and really good fighters that we have had come through our gym, but then when you put them in the cage, they melt. They can't deal with that anxiety. They can't deal with, there's a guy in front of you and you got to fight him in front of this, that, you know, if it's 500 people, it's 1,000 people, it's 10,000 people. Some people can't do it. They're gym warriors and they're really good in the gym, but they suck when you put them in the cage. And that's why I don't think the sport's ever going to truly change that much. Everybody thinks, oh, we're getting new athletes in, we're getting better athletes, better athletes. I'm like, cool. Nate Diaz does not like an athlete, and he'll beat your ass. So, and he still will beat. You know, I'm just saying, it's just how the sport's going to evolve a little bit. But there's a big difference between wrestling and jiu-jitsu and fighting MMA. You know, there's a big difference there.
Yes, this mental component of the whole sport is like super important, because without it you can go to some level but you can't be like on the top of the mountain.
Yeah, absolutely. There's some people are truly made for it and some people aren't made for it. I truly think I am made for it. I think I got a little bit of that crazy in me. I mean, everybody that's good at it, something's a little wrong with them. You know, there's something there that's just not normal, and I got that for sure.
And outside of fighting, what do you like to do in your free time?
To be honest, when I'm in fight camp, I don't really have a lot of free time. I guess you could say, you know, I I like projects, and like I'm working on a couple different businesses and stuff like that. You know, I enjoy doing that. I mean, I don't really have that many hobbies besides fighting right now. Um, if I could say anything, which is kind of sad. I mean, I lift weights and I do all that stuff, but I'm a strength and conditioning coach by trade, so that's what I do. I work with NFL athletes, I work with MLB athletes, I train them. And now that's not where I make the majority of my money does not come from that. I still do it kind of as a hobby. I just get paid a little bit from it. You know, it keeps me doing something with my time. Um, yeah, man. Besides that, I don't really do anything else besides fight. I don't play video games. I don't do any of that. I train. When I'm out of camp, I might party a little bit, but yeah, it's not. I'm not fishing. I'm not hunting. You know, so it's fighting. That's what we do.
Yes, but if you have a few businesses, you probably can treat it a little bit like a thing outside of fighting. When you are focused on your business, it's like a little bit fighting is like not mainly on your mind.
Yeah, for sure. Which my businesses are in fighting, but I got a couple other different things I'm working on. Um, yeah, I do like shooting guns. I like doing stuff like that, which every fighter likes shooting guns. Everyone likes shooting guns. I don't know what the hell the difference is. People like shooting guns. Um, I started cycling a little bit for a little bit. My bike's just a little messed up. Uh, I like working on my house. You know, I'm a homeowner, so I'm trying to fix it up a little bit. You know, we've been painting the rooms and everything. Um, and man, just when I don't have to train, I like to relax right now because you know we're training twice a day, 6 days a week. Uh, you know, it's just I've never. This is my biggest test yet, so this is the most I've ever trained. So that's all we're doing. That's all we're focused on right now.
And do you plan to finish your opponent, or do you like have in mind that it can be like 15-minute war?
Um, I don't really think it's gonna be a 15-minute war. I think it can go 15 minutes. I think if I expose his weaknesses and implement my game plan, you know, I got three different options on how I want to finish this fight. I got one sub that I think I'm gonna get. I think I'll get a submission at the end of a late of a round. Um, I got some finishing shots that I know I can probably land to put him away, but I think I could easily see it going to a decision. You know, I mean, I think he can knock me out too. Like that can happen. I'm not going to say he can't. He's got some good kicks. I don't think his punches are too good. I think he wings them a little bit. I think he keeps his chin straight down the middle. We've watched a lot of film on him. You know, I train professional athletes, so I treat this like a professional athlete. I do a lot of film study. I do a lot of film study on myself. Um, yeah, I mean, his rear leg goes low, his front leg goes high. He likes to throw, you know, like his looping left hook that he likes to throw. Throws a 1-2 a lot. He likes to throw a rear kick and then go straight into the push kick. I mean, I've watched everything he does. He's really good when he gets somebody's back. If he gets my back on the cage, he's going to go for the broomstick. He's going to try to get me to the ground. He's going to try to choke me. He throws up a lot of triangles. I think there's a lot of things he's really, really good at, but I think there's a lot of things that he's not really good at. So I think he's a really good fighter. I just think there's some holes there, which I got holes. Everybody has holes. It's just, does he know my holes? He probably thinks I'm going to come in there and just take him down immediately because I haven't struck in any of my fights. If you watch any fight I have on YouTube, I take the guy down immediately. And he probably thinks that's what I'm going to do. I know what I'm going to do. And hell, I know exactly what minute I'm going to try to do it in. So, I mean, we got it all. Everything I know I'm doing. How I'm doing it, when I'm doing it, what sub I'm going for, what am I trying to get him to do to get to my sub. I know everything I got, and I'm ready for it. I've never been more prepared for any fight in my life.
And definitely this fight looks great on the paper because you both finish all of your wins. So it means that it may last a little bit longer, but there is a good chance that it will end in second or first or second round.
I don't really plan on like staying. If I do get him, when I do get him to the ground, if I decide to go there, I don't plan on playing on the ground with him long. I'm either gonna, you know, lock him up from there and stay in a safe neutral position and just beat him while he's on the ground. Or I'm gonna jump my sub whenever I decide to do that. I'm not gonna say anything else. Is all I'm saying.
Okay, Johnny, so many thanks for this conversation. I hope that you will win this fight. In the future, you will fight for the peak championship. And then maybe next year we can see you either in the UFC, maybe Bellator, maybe Contender Series, but there will be a next step in your career.
For sure, 100%.
Okay, so
absolutely. I appreciate y'all having me on. You know, it was just fun. I enjoy it.